Dad. It's great to have the opportunity to formally get to run through your life's experience and engagement with music. I know we've touched on it over the years informally many times, and I was thinking maybe right at the beginning when I can account myself for my introduction to music, which primarily was through yourself, but what was your introduction to music, and at what age did you engage with music, and who were the people that influenced you greatest back at that time?
Yes, well, of course, the one man that I have to put that down to is John Patrick Blesson from Carrigamore, my own townland. And John Patrick Blesson was an exceptionally well-known flute player. He would come over to our house about twice in the year and bring the flute rolled up and in the inside pocket. And he'd sit in, he'd play a few tunes, and he'd start to explain to me about these tunes. Now I was only a gosson at the time, and he'd be explaining to me how Pat Short up the road used to play this, and how John so-and-so down the road used to play it. And sure, I didn't know who he was talking about. But then he'd take it and he'd play a bit, and he'd say, "No, there's the way Short to do it," he'd say.
And just, what year are you talking about? You didn't start playing yourself until you were 15, I think you told me one time, is that right?
Yeah.
But you're talking about before that?
Yes.
He was coming to the house, and how often would
He was coming to the house in the mid-40s.
And you were born in 1936?
And I was 36.
So you think that as a 10-year-old you're remembering this
Oh
clearly?
yes, I'm remembering back to that, and you wouldn't forget what you were after hearing from him, because he was a magnet in what you told him, and you'd have to be a magnet in taking what he gave you, because he could give you an awful lot of information.
What events would have brought him over to the house? Was it something particular in the year?
My father would say to him, "You'll come over some night for a few tunes," he says. Right. Now, my father wasn't playing at all, or didn't make an awful hand of singing, I don't think, but Blessed was a man, you see, that he took in the young and the old, the stiff and the limber and all this. Everyone loved him. And if anyone said to Blessed, "You come in and you'll have a few tunes for the children," and that was his harvest night.
And your house growing up, it wasn't easy because you lost your mum when you were 5 years old, and you were the second eldest of five living children.
That's right.
So it was, I suppose, it was needs must. It was a busy house just to make ends meet at the time.
Oh, did it?
But did it become a so-called Céilí house because your dad was on his own? So
Yeah.
I remember because I lived, Grandad lived with us for a number of years, and
Yeah.
I think I was 10 when he died. You'd have the men coming around on a Sunday evening just to make company with him because there was no woman in the house.
It was the noted Céilí house in our parish or in our area, you see.
Yes.
And you never could tell who'd come in, but it was very hard to get any of them guys to sing. The only way you'd ever get them to sing, they wouldn't have instruments because they weren't playing instruments,
Yes.
but the only way you would get them to sing is if you had a couple of bottles of stout in the house and get one, after got one or two into them, but you need chairs them all together, right? You couldn't get them stopped then. Well, that's for sure, yeah.
But John didn't fit into that because I remember John wasn't part of that so-called Céilí group.
No.
So John came over, as you said, periodically throughout the year,
Yeah.
had a flute in his pocket, I recall you saying.
That's right.
And that was an event in itself. It was a unique event, John.
But my father would always have a few bottles of Guinness there and give John a few of them. And no, he didn't come looking for it, or he'd go home without it if it wasn't there.
And if it weren't John, was there any other musical influence on you during that 10 years, about the mid-40s, mid-50s? Or was John the primary influence on you? Or your only exposure maybe to music?
Well, it was all either whistle or flute by John.
By John. And John was the man.
John was the man and the man, yeah.
So when you grew up in a household of five, you had a younger sister, Josephine.
That's right. Well. She was next to me.
Yeah. So did you start playing before she started singing, because she became a noted singer afterwards?
Both of us, it just happened, you know. She'd be singing there. I'd play a bit and she'd sing more, and This is what went on. And, you know, how we got into the competitive field.
You're talking about the Flas, is it?
It was strange. There came a master from Ahamore in County Mayo over to our local school, Master Seamus Duffy. And he was mad on dancing and he was mad on singing, and he used to play a fiddle as well now. And when he came over and found out that we were playing with music, he used to call to the house every now and again. And the next thing was, I was coming out from Mass on the 29th of June 1956. That was in them days St. Peter and Paul's Day, to the church holiday, which it is now. And he says, he caught up with me and he said, I have entered for the Fla in Killishandra. Oh, he said, no, I says, oh Christ, I'm not going to play it. You'll play, I have you entered. Good enough. So I went and I got second in it. And that rose the profile a little bit. This Duffy man, he knew an awful lot of people throughout the country, and there was concerts here and concerts there, and he was booked for it, and he brought us along with him. And that spread our wings a little further as well. Now, Duffy would be the next man after Blessing that gave us a walk through out into the general public playing. And
so that's 1956.
That was 1956.
So you're 20 years old then. I'm going to take it back, say, 5 years, because you said to me you started learning the flute or whistle, actually, wasn't it? 1951.
51 and 5, yeah, that's right.
Right, so how did that come about? What arrangement? That was with John, wasn't it?
With John, yeah.
And what arrangement did you have in terms of who's going to give you an instrument, when were you going to meet?
Well, you know, it all was nice talk. And he says, have you a whistle? I haven't. I have a whistle here, he says, I want to do play, but I give it to you till you get a whistle. No, it was a fairly loose contract. And with the result, anyway, he gave me his good whistle. And this was great, but I decided I'd buy one. And this is a story, I'm not naming anyone in it. There was two guys that had money and whistles when I had neither money nor whistles. And they told me coming from Mass of a Sunday that they had plenty of whistles and they sell me a whistle. Oh God, I thought it was the best Sunday, but I went to Mass anyway. They'd be coming home with the news that I was going to get a whistle. So I went over, second Mass time would be about 11 o'clock, and I was over before second Mass took place anyway. And there was a jar on the table and there was surely 4 or 5 whistles standing in it. I took one of them out and I blew into it for all I could play, and the fella that owned them in the house, the 2 brothers, one of them blew a few tunes into it. And I says to him, I'll buy one of them up here. Yeah, sure. We don't want them all anyway, he says. So, how much do you want, he says. I want 5 shillings, he says. And I had 4 and 6pence. That's of my own money, the only money I had 4 and 6pence. And I surely thought I was made. So I told him what I had. No, I won't take that, no, it has to be 5 shillings. But he let me leave the house without the whistle. Because if I had other 6pence, I'd have given it to him, but I hadn't it.
Yeah.
But he let me go without it.
Just thinking how different it is now. We have whistles lying around the house everywhere. And you know, even pipers now can come across a good set of pipes in a short time after learning. And there you couldn't even find a whistle that you could afford at the time. How different times are.
Unbelievable.
So what did you do without your own whistle? You were still using John's, was it?
Well, I was using John's all the time, you see.
So that would have continued for a couple of years.
That's right. And I can't remember really how I got in on another whistle. But I was hell-bent on buying a flute.
Right.
Now, a flute wasn't the way you got an instrument, I tell you that much.
That's going to cost a bit more than a whistle as well.
It was. A good bit more. But anyway, there was, the word got round that there was a guy up in Catton, in Gortletra, by the name of Peter Lee. I think he was Peter Lee.
Nothing to do with John's.
No, different Lees altogether.
father.
And he was supposed to be a flute player, but he's no longer fit to play. And his daughter was married up the road from me, just about quarter of a mile. And they sell the flute. And I went up of a Sunday night anyway, and I bought the flute for £1.
Nice.
Now I think I raided the coffers to get the what built up from 4 and 6 to the pound. And God, I often would think of it. Sure, I didn't know whether in tune or out of tune or what it was, but at least it showed me how to blow into it and all this. I was delighted. Now at that very moment in time, there was the priest in the parish, and he had organised a new pipers band, and they were waiting on a chanter to come, and they had me earmarked to go into this band, and I was holding back, but there was no sign of it coming, and I had the flute bought, and I said, that's that now, no chanter. I'm going to play the flute, and I'm not going to have anything to do with the chanter of these war pipes. So about a week or so afterwards, didn't I hear a fellow over the fields blowing into this chanter? Now they were terrible loud, you know. Yeah. Oh, you could know every blow he gave and every note he played. And my neighbour Charlie Lee, he came to me and he says, we have got the chanter. He says, we're going to give it to you for a week and practice on it. Now look at Charlie, I says, I have a flute I'm after paying £1 for, and I'm not going to go off it. I know he wasn't a bit pleased, I'll tell you the truth. No, I'm not going to go off it, John. And I started to practice that, and it was, of course, it was the time that Kieran McMahon was very well got on RT from the listener point of view anyway. And he'd have the coolies on, and he'd have Father Locklear on and all these. And it gave me more initiative to keep playing the flute. And just went on, and that's how I started it.
So you transferred to the flute from the whistle. It was still John's whistle?
I had no whistle of my own at the time.
You still had no whistle of your own?
I still had no whistle of my own.
Right, but now you're able to sit down and play with John or attempt
First thing I done was I went over to John and gave him back. I shot up the whistle for him and gave it back to him, and I thanked him, of course, because I got that far on the strength of him telling me how to play and his instrument.
So he would assume demonstrate something to you on the whistle and then give it back to you to practice and take home to.
Oh yes, he used to do that, but he wasn't the easiest man in the world to learn from. It wasn't that he made it difficult, but this was his style of playing, and he'd start off there and he'd put in a roll and he'd put in another roll and he'd put in a cut and all this. So I didn't know what he was talking about.
Very ornamented music.
Oh, Jenny, he ornamented it to the last.
So to deconstruct that was a task for you to make sense of it.
That was big stuff. Now, when he was showing me how to do the roll, he was trying to show me how to rock. You rock the wrist and all this. This was terrible big stuff for someone that hadn't a flute in his hand ever before.
Yeah.
And but we got on terrible well. And
you always talk very affectionately about John as a person.
Oh, God of all, and we're here today because of him. He's up to look at as I say. Because of him, we're here today. And
just a little bit on his background. He grew up, if I remember you saying, with his brother, isn't that right? He shared the house with his brother.
Well, James now had a good voice, but when he got a couple of drinks in, he started to forget the songs and the words and all this, and he'd say, I'm making boxty of it, and he'd take off the cap and he'd throw it on again. This is the way he behaved. And John, no matter how much he drank, but he would never have too much drink anyway, he'd sing a 13 or 14 verse song without making a mistake. And there's one of them that you had, do you remember one?
One that digitised
that's right.
Tracks. Yeah.
Well, that one, I'm telling you, there's a lot of verses in that. And he went through it. And the beautiful sound, it was music everywhere. He phrased it properly. Yeah. Oh God!
I often think, you lost your mum early. He lost his mum early. I think you told me.
He did, yeah.
I just wonder, was there kind of a kindred spirit there? Did you understand? You seem to get on so well together.
Well, you know, no, because work overtook the whole lot.
Okay.
Work overtook, you had a day's work to do. If you played 1,000 tunes last night, today you had to do that work. And you'd be thinking of what you played last night. And the next night I'd go over and was to get such a thing from him and all this. You lived believing and looking forward to the next night and trying to have what he gave you.
And music meant so much to him and to you. Like,
Oh yeah, well he thought
life,
that too.
yeah, life was difficult, wasn't it?
He
Like,
used to say, you have the taste. The taste, he used to use that word, you have the taste, he'd say. And I had the taste for it all right. I just loved, he used to go down to his lower room and he'd bring up the flute. And when he'd be just coming out the door, he'd put it in the mouth and he'd go, oh my Jesus, he'd raise the heart in a dead man. He would. Oh, he was mighty. He was mighty. I never met anything as exciting as John Blisson now.
well, when I hear some of his music, I can perfectly understand.
And you heard him in his failing years.
Yeah.
You heard him in his failing years. If you heard him when I heard him in 1945 and anywhere from 45 on there till the 60s and maybe a little bit further. Oh God save us, he was a terror.
Because it was only in the, I think, really 80s, was it? RT became aware of him and he did a long note with you, was it?
That's right.
A radio and TV programme with you, but he was in the last 10 years of his life at that stage.
He was in and the failing years of his life. He took a little spot, he used a smoking pipe and he developed a little hardy spot just there on his lip. And it put the blow astray on him.
Yes.
And he'd tell you that too. He says, oh, the blow's gone a bit astray on me now. He says, it's not what it was. But however, and he'd take out the pipe and he'd light it and smoke again.
I remember you give me a phrase I don't think I've ever heard really since. You used to say about him coming in out the field with a pair of puttees. What was that?
Puttees. Well, puttees was you pull your socks over your trousers and you had this bit of sack about that length and about that depth and you roll it around it there and it saved the bottom part of your trousers after working the whole day in a dirty field digging spuds or digging a ridge for spuds. And when he threw off them, his trousers was nice and dry and everything. They called them puttees.
I just remember you saying, I just remember that phrase, and you say come in and he'd in a pair of puttees and you go off and get the flute and start playing. This kind of the juxtaposition of this hard toil in the field with this release of passion through making of music.
Yeah, that's true. I do think all right that he felt he was lucky. Now this is what I think. He was lucky to have me coming to him to play along with him or to get his music. Because it was about music we talked during the night. He'd play a bit and I'd try to play another bit after him, and when I'd ask him to do what he used to tell me his father he used to do this, that and the other. And as I said earlier, I said to him, what do your father do that you can't do? If you heard him. And he put it up like this and good God Almighty, they went a roll of stuff out. You think it went walking out the door. You know, furrows and furrows and furrows. Oh, he was an exceptional man.
Yeah, so he could do probably most of what
he came a bit too early. If he had to wait a little longer, he'd have come in the time of the Tansy and Matt Malloy. While he'd be a different player to both of them, he'd be in that category.
Wow, that's speaking very highly.
Without a shadow.
And at the time you mentioned the band, but before that there was a fife and drum influence, wasn't there, in the area?
There was.
And was John very much influenced by that?
Oh, he was. Yes. Well, he would be playing. He was fit to play. The B flat flutes were about that length, and there was a key on the very end of it. And I said to him, "What use do you make of that key?" Well, he says, "When you go into the third position," he says, "you've got to press that key and keep it pressed all the time. And after that then it's cross fingering. The same fingering has got the scale of D and G and E, and it wouldn't work. Those special fingers for getting the special notes. But you had to keep that little
key
raised all the time. And Jiminy God, he played it a couple of nights for me, and sure, I suppose if I had to have the head screwed on enough, I'd have tried to learn that of him.
Yeah.
But sure, we went off to something else, and he started to talk about Bunker Hill and the Boston Boys and all this, and when we get him at that, now he was in his element.
Yeah. And do you think that the style of music, the fife, if you like, the fife music, greatly influenced his music, which ultimately would have influenced yours, perhaps? Or not?
That it represented his music.
Or do you think it might have influenced his music greatly, the connection with the five bands?
I don't think so, because you see, the five bands, you see, were playing marches nearly all the time, you see. And then he could start off on a reel there, a four-part reel or anything like that, and he kept, and there would be very little rolls around in the fife and drum band, you see. There'd be more straight, sharp, correct playing, now you'd have to say. But no, he would be, he took whatever come and he made a hand of it right away.
You told me a very funny story many moons ago about the pipe band, that there were a very good pipe band in the area. Like you talk about getting that chanter at the same time as the flute or potential, but you said it was a really good pipe band. There were 40 members, I think you said.
There was 16 members.
16?
16 members,
sorry,
yeah.
I got that one wrong. Yeah.
Oh yeah. Oh God, they were a lovely band.
Right. But didn't get too many gigs.
But they have got lots of them if they weren't so fond of the yargle.
Remember you telling me that?
They were supposed to do a gig in a particular town. It was on I think it was a show day, and they had them booked for this particular show day. And right, they took the booking and arrived, and just when they arrived, they were closing the gates. And some of them said, some of the band crew said, hold on, we have to win there. Oh, you should have been in here at 11 o'clock this morning.
So they were a bit late.
Goodbye. Now look at.
But they were very talented, if not punctual.
They had a lovely band, all right, and it was unbelievable. None of them, with the exception of Blessing and maybe one other, was as individuals any good to listen to play.
Or not noted, at least.
But when they all joined together and got it from the right man, they hit the beat well. Oh, they were good now.
What other musicians at that time you were just starting out on your musical journey, whether it was whistle or flute? Who else was playing music in the area?
Well, there was a man up the road from me, Johnny Mulligan. And Johnny was rearing children the same age as me at that time now. And Johnny was a fiddle player. Now, we hadn't the snoss of that P. Fitz would have on it, or
Jimmy McKieran?
Or Jimmy McKieran, no, he wouldn't have that. But he had a wonderful, solid beat, and people would dance all night. Blessing told me this. Blessing used to play with a man by the name of Eugene Charles from away up like a number way. And he shook the head, and I believe every word Blessing had tell now. He says, Eugene Charles was the best fiddler of the whole of them, he says. I played along with him, and you think it was one fiddle or one flute. He says the best of the whole lot of them, nice and dainty, and he had all the snossy stuff. But like the Mulligans, but what I was going to say there now was, it wouldn't be so good to dance to. Because Blessing and him was playing, we say, in this room, and Mulligan and a couple of other cronies of his playing good music in the kitchen area, and they were dancing like hell to it and all this. And this woman says, what's wrong? There's no one below listening to Charles and Blessing, and they're all up here. Because they had that strong rhythm beat. Now there'd be no little technique or anything put in, but they knew nothing about technique.
Well, it was certainly music for the dance, I suppose.
Music, they were dance specialists.
The emphasis was making sure it worked for the dance.
Oh yes, and they used to play with great vigour and great lift.
You mentioned Jimmy McKieran, because I think of him in the same phrase, I suppose, as Jim Rall. Wasn't he another fiddle player?
Oh yes, well he was. They used to call Jim Rall the Michael Coleman of Ohavas.
Was he like?
Oh yes, he used to treasure Bonnie, Kate and Jenny's chickens. And Christ Almighty, he was... Well, Hughie Riley told me now, and he's one of them Riley that we have already talked about.
Jim Riley.
Jim Riley. Oh, he says Ral was the nearest thing to Coleman that ever took a fiddle in his hand. He says.
And did you get to meet Jim Ral?
Meet?
Yeah, did you meet Jim Ral?
He was up in the house on different occasions.
Right.
But at the time he was in my house, there was no recorders to record him, and you took in what you took in here, and...
yeah, but you have a distinct memory. Were you?
Oh yes.
So you weren't playing music yourself at that time, were you, or you just where you were?
I was, yeah. But he'd finish up singing Terence McSweeney. That's the song he'd finish up. Now he had a few beers in it when he'd do that. Oh yeah.
And did you play much with Jimmy McKiernan?
That was the one man that never mixed much with either Fitz or Ral or myself. But I'll tell you, he was a lovely player. I heard 4 fiddle players one night playing. Joe McKiernan from Fina.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
Jimmy McKiernan from Ahavas. P. Fitz. Who was it?
Thomas Canning, maybe, yeah.
No, who was the other fiddle player? And they played McDermott's hornpipe. I never heard nicer or better in my life. They were all together. And sure, they're all dead. But they were tuning up to get going and all this. And what will we play? Go on to Jimmy, your choice is my favourite.
Very good.
So you weren't going to stick Jimmy. But I tell you, it was the finest playing of, I do think of it many a time, McDermott's hornpipe. I think it's a 4-part hornpipe. Oh God!
It's a very strong fiddle tradition. There weren't. John was a flute player. Any other flute player there?
There's only there was Thomas Cannon, of course. I was talking to that man there about Thomas Cannon. His nephew, I think it was his nephew, was producer in RTE on a few occasions. Not on Bring Down the Lamp, but on some other program, All the Best or something like that. And oh God, he was. Oh, just Thomas Cannon was a great player. Great player, but again a different style of player to Blessing.
Yes.
He wouldn't get the same amount of rolls, but everything was good. Everything good, solid, great phrasing and great rhythm.
There was there music in your school? Like when you went to primary school, was there any music there?
No, but there was a teacher there. She was Mrs. Farrell, and she was teaching 4th class, which I was in at the time, and it seems she got to like us in some way or another. She'd bring in her machine,
Gramophone, was
gramophone, and play tapes for it, play records for us. Maybe for about 10 minutes before school would start. And I always thought music was beautiful, and I thought this was beautiful. But sure, I didn't know whether a reel or a jig or who was playing it rather. But it was great music. Now, that would be in the early days of Coleman and these, so it could have been Coleman records or Huey Gillespie's or some of them. They all made records at the same time, you see, or near enough the same time. And there's no question about it. If she had to have more years, I think she would have taught it. Then, of course, she retired and another lady took over that proposed teaching, and it didn't go too well for her because she couldn't play herself.
Right.
And it's not easy to put it through to somebody if you can't say, now, this is how you do this.
Yeah.
You know.
So all your music was learned outside of school, I take it then?
All the music was taught out of school. At one time, Johnny Mulligan had 16 players 16 musicians, as we call them, coming to him.
Wow.
Noel Blessing was one of them too.
All learning the fiddle?
Learning the fiddle.
Right. That gives you a sense of density in the area, in a small rural area.
In a small rural area. And it dwindled away. Some of them was going faster than others, and you know what happened.
There must have been 16 fiddles in the area as well, I suppose. The way
well, there was yokes taken down off walls and dressers that was there for 40 years, you know. And they knocked the dust out of them. And there was one night, P. Fitz opened a pub in Mohall, and he had it set for a very big night's opening, which he had. And he he was an uncle of Danger Man McGowan's, if ever you heard of Danger Man McGowan. And McGowan was going to open this tremendous pub. And the word got out anyway, and everyone that had a musical instrument, bring it in, and well, there was yokes on, and you could write your name in them with dust on them, you know. And out of the whole lot that night, all he got was himself and myself playing Devil's Share.
That was P and your son.
P himself, playing the Devil's Share. And there wasn't another tune played. Right. Actually, he let them bring them in anyway, and it wasn't fit for out of the airways, you know.
Well, you mentioned P, of course, I can relate to him. P was a much younger generation than the John Blessings and the...
He was, yeah.
Because P in his retirement year, he was as you know, he was known as Master Fitz.
Aye.
I was one of his students. I was in third class when he was...
oh, God.
Yeah, when he was teaching in his retirement year. Jeez. So I have memories of him there. I've memories of playing at his gravesite in 1983, wasn't it?
Yeah.
And I have memories of going in with you on a Saturday night where you used to go in and play with P and indeed do some recording in there with him as well.
Oh yeah. Oh God, we did countless hours of playing.
That was in Mohill because though he was born in Belfast, he bought the pub in Mohill.
He was inclined to listen a good bit to Latin. Paddy Latin.
Not a bad influence. Yeah.
No, but it didn't suit a man coming from Leitrim playing the short, lifty style and phrasing it, breaking it up more so than Latin would do it. Latin would put in the long bow, doing all this lovely slice, beautiful stuff. And he felt that was what he could do, and that was destroying him. You mightn't tell him that.
Well, changing him maybe anyway. So just shows the influence of recordings. Yeah. Because I'd like to come back to you. Well, actually, just before I talk about your recording and the first recording device that you bought, you'd mentioned the Fla Ceol in 1956 was your first one, was it?
Yes.
So that was really the start of the Fla era, was it? One of the first Flas back in 50?
It was one of the first that I was aware of.
It's kind of significant. It was in Killishandra where you met Mum afterwards.
That's right. That is right. Yeah.
But you tell me, who was the adjudicator? Remind me on that day that your first.
Father O'Loughlin was an adjudicator. Sean Reid was an adjudicator. They're all gone. Yeah. Lord have mercy on them.
Yes. Yeah. And you got placed on the flute that day?
With the flute, yes.
And I think that was 1956. And I was
borrowing a flute.
You hadn't got a flute long. Oh, you were borrowing the flute still.
Yeah, because the one I had, I thought wouldn't be in tune enough for Tom Nielsen gave me a flute of his and he had Judy had one among that late. I don't know where he got it. It was such a big job to hold it up, without ever playing it,
Right. But you obviously did okay on it. And then
it did well. And then the following year with 57, you see, that was Ballyconnell, with a lot of talk about now. And I got a first there, all right, and I got a first the following year, then 1958 in Ballynya. Right. That was 3 Calvin Flas after it.
Because there weren't necessary Flas in every county. It was only select counties had a Fla at that time. Okay, and they were open.
And then of course the All Ireland came to Longford in May of 58, the 26th of May. It's a long date to remember, but I remember it. 26th of May 58. And the big thing about it that day was we met the Sean Ryans and the Seamus Conleys and all these. There was a little guy there and he was along with his mother, Seamus Conley, from Killaloe. And they were going from one end of the town to the other to see this fella play the fiddle. And his favourite tune was the Maid to Castle Bar. And he used to start it on treble, Christ almighty, if he had got a penny for every one that within to listen to him, and he'd be rich for the rest of his life. He said that they were all around him. And Jerry was a lovely player. You couldn't believe that anyone of his years could be so good. But then, as time went by, I saw it happen in my own house where he at that age was full shot for
Seamus was pretty exceptional and still is, of course.
I know, yeah.
There were a number of flute players you met at that Fla as well, weren't there?
I met Michael. Do you ever know Michael McHale?
Yeah,
Michael McHale from Roscommon.
I've met him he lives in the Catskills. He lives in Catskills.
We met him in the Catskills, that's right. Well, he won the flute that day in Longford.
Right.
He won the flute that day in Longford. Then the following year was Turbis. That was a great fella. We arrived about 2:00 and we pulled up at, I don't know what hotel it was now. But anyway, I knew the beautiful music being played somewhere down the way, and there was a narrow alleyway down towards where this music was coming from. And I wandered down, and here there was 4 or 5 guys playing, and the tune they were playing just when I went down was Dr. O'Neill, the G. Now I didn't know one of them that was in the group. They had caps on, backways and everything like this, and when they had it played, of course, there was a big clap, and naturally, it was great stuff. I walked over to this guy, and it wasn't a Tubridy, and I didn't know Tubridy. I just went over to Mick Tubridy, and I says, that was massive music. Do you like it? I did, sure. And I says, what is the name of that tune? Dr. O'Neill, he says, and when you go home, he says, if you have the book, it's the first tune in the book. Nice. I never forgot it. Never. Maloney was there, and I couldn't tell you how many of them were there, but it was mighty, mighty music.
That was 59. Right.
That was 59.
And your sister Josephine was singing in competitions at that time?
Aye, she won that day, yes.
The English ballad
in the English ballad competition.
That was her second
I was
time.
playing that day, and I got third. Michael Talty and Michael Falsey and myself.
Nice.
Did you ever hear of them names?
Surely, yeah.
Yeah, well, they were my biggest enemies. But they're all lovely players, so God, yes. Talty and Falsey.
So 59.
I thought they were strange names, you know.
So the Fleadh, of course, the Fleadh was, I mean, it meant a lot to people. You're talking about all those luminaries, really, who saw the Fleadh as a social point to get together, play music.
It was,
and competition was an accepted part of that, obviously.
Correct. If you're competitive at all, I get into that. It was a great way of projecting yourself.
Nice.
Because having got second that day, then Sean McRaymond recorded me in the studio. And the following Tuesday night, I took up 3 or 4 minutes playing on RTE. And I had callers coming and
Doors were opening.
doors were opening, that's right. You know, at a time when it wasn't easy opening doors, and there wasn't the best of doors to be opened anyway, you know.
That's a significant year, 59, because I think you told me before, is that the year you bought your first recording device?
It was, that's right. I bought a little Philips recorder. It had only a 4-inch spool or that in it. Oh, but a grand little machine, oh yeah. Or if I had to have it earlier, I'd have nabbed an awful lot that were no longer with us. And
what motivated you to even get one? Because there weren't
well, the big thing was, you see, here in McMahon had 2 programs a week on radio. McCullough and
Job of Johnny Works.
what the Blickness, what the other one? Not a terror,
What's the Job of Johnny Works?
Job of Johnny Work. And I went in out the field, left me work there, I went in out the field and listened to his programme. That was the truth. And I had the recorder set up. If I liked what I was hearing or thought it necessary to record it, I recorded it, and if not, I kept that tape for again. But the Coolies from Galway, there was Joe Cooley and Seamus Cooley. Now Joe Cooley was the flute player. Seamus was the accordion player, as far as I know.
Maybe the other way around.
Or was it the other way around?
Yeah.
All right. And Cooley played a hornpipe, and I thought it was the loveliest I ever heard. Now, I just thought it was great. And lucky enough, I had a recorder, and I recorded it. Now, I didn't work too late in the field that evening. I came back in and started on it. And that was on a Tuesday night. That was the night hearing used to be on. And Friday night, the Creve Rue Céilí band from Edgestown. Now Mickey Riley and Huey was members of that band.
The Drum Riley.
The Riley musicians, yes. They were in Mohill. They had their band called the Creve Rue, and they were playing at the Céilí in Mohill. And Riley spotted me just as I walked up the hall, and he called me up. I have a powerful hornpipe for you. I says, I wonder would it be coolies? Just to myself. So when the thing was over anyway, I went up to him. That's the last thing I done before I left the house tonight. I wrote it out for you, he says.
This is Mickey Riley.
Mickey Riley, he wrote out the coolies hornpipe. I know, but if I got £100, I wouldn't go away as happy and to have this coolies, oh dear, it was a lovely hornpipe. And he would have been playing in a place that was an echo. For God bless us, there was a notorious sound coming through. He was getting off the flute anyway.
And do you think he'd heard the hornpipe?
No, but he recorded it, you see. He recorded it. He told me that. He said, I was lucky, he says, I was in time and I put the recorder going.
Yes.
So he had the Creve Rue recorder, you see.
Yeah, so it's the same source. He'd heard Joe Cooley.
He heard the very same broadcast.
Right,
yeah.
the power of the recording.
No.
Yeah, how it was reaching an audience. Fantastic.
Yeah. Oh,
and
no doubt I'll say this, that Kieran did an awful lot for the spread of music.
So you're one of the main reasons you bought the recording was to be able to have a more permanent record of what you'd heard on the radio, so you could go and learn the music.
And I had time to learn it between programs and things like that, yeah.
And then you were able to go and out to meet musicians and record musicians as well.
Oh yeah, oh God, yeah. Oh yeah.
And you record many locals. Well, John, you've recorded, of course. John,
you see, the locals, you see, took cold feet when they seen all these wires and everything hanging down round about them. They got a sort of flabbergasted and you know, I suppose it was the first time ever, you see, and why wouldn't it? That was the one thing about Pleasant. Oh, you could put a sheaf of wires around him and he'd play away in the middle of it. He was, for a man that was never anywhere, he was an exceptional man. No, he was an exceptional man.
Sounds like it was all about the music for him.
Music. He sat in there and he'd play if there was 20 times what we have here now.
You told me some really interesting ones. Tell me about going up to, on your bicycle, no doubt, as well. Was it up to Longford?
I went up to Edgestown. I carried this recorder in one hand and
it's about a 40-minute drive in a car, so I don't know how long
I went the whole way after a whole hard day's work at a threshing mill in the neighbour's yard, and I went up there and I met a guy, and then indeed he was younger than me and he's long dead. He was from, there was a bit of a concert going on, and he was there with a big piano accordion, and geez, no matter who put up their head to play, he was going to record them anyway. I reckon he had thousands of tapes when he died.
Oh, yeah.
You know the fella?
Yeah, it was probably Tom Davis, I
Davis.
You're talking about, yeah.
Tom Davis is right.
An avid recorder, all right, yeah, he's prolific.
Oh, he had...
So you were there with your recorder as well?
I was there with my recorder as well. Yeah. He was a neat player now, nice, neat player.
Do you remember
we
the
weren't on for the piano accordion, it was rough, you know, we thought.
Okay.
You know,
that wasn't the night then that famous country maestro and singer that you recorded, was it? That was a different night.
That was a different night.
Tell us about that. That's a really interesting story.
I recorded Larry. I was the first man ever to record Larry Cunningham. Would you ever believe that?
Tell us how that happened.
We were at a concert in Duffy had us above at a concert in Ballinallee, and there was a good many musicians there. And this guy from Escom, and I met him before, and before that night, and I said to him, "Have you the car?" He went, "I have. Will you put a couple of tunes on the tape?" "God, I will," he says. He sat down on a chair in a hallway, and he played 2 or 3 or maybe more tunes, but Larry Cunningham, I knew him, and he was standing over listening to the lot, and he came over as far as me, and he says, "Would you mind if I played a tune on that?"
Or sang a song.
Or sang a song on that. "Oh, not at all." And he sat down on his hunkers, And he took the microphone in his hand and he sung into it. And you would have nice now. So when he had his song and all, he said, could I hear it back? So we spun it back and all. Could I sing another one, he says. That's exactly now what happened. And the next one was just as good. He says, thanks a million for that, he says. First time ever I heard myself singing. He made many a recording after that.
Sure did. Fair play to him.
Well, I was the first that ever, and he asked me, could he record? Yeah. Could I record him? Yeah.
Right, and one of the really interesting ones, must have been from the very beginning of your recording career, if you like, was the Avast Carnival.
Oh yes, oh Jerry, yes we had.
What was the carnival even about? Because, I mean, that concept doesn't exist now, does it?
No, the carnival was you see, they put up a tent, and this tent would hold about maybe 400 or 500 people, or at least that, maybe more. Good dancing floor in it and all this, and they had it all electrified and all this business. But in '59 was they were holding a carnival in it, and the guy that was in charge of all that, Sean McKeown, he said to me, you were going out to the Fla in Thurles. We'll be very close to the band competition, he says, and whatever band wins the All Ireland, try and Carnarvon and Céilí available for such a date. He gave me the date, wrote it on paper. And it was the Leitrim band from Lochray, Joe Burke's band.
How appropriate.
We were coming down the stairs after winning and going to a congregation in which he was entitled to, and all this. I says, I have a broken for you if you're available to take it, in Avast. He just looked at me. Hold on, he said, and he took out his little book, and I gave him the date and all. I am available that night. Will you book a Avast Carnival for that night? But there's the number that you ring now in the meantime. That's the man that will be paying you. He's the man that gave me orders to hit. God, that's booking right away. He says. And all that took place. And Jenny, old and young, turned out to it. Old and young turned out to it. Maguire was there as a guest artist and Josephine Keegan. Maguire played the piano and he played the drums, and now what did he not play? Oh, what a night. It was mightiest music. And that's recorded, you'll hear it yet.
Yeah.
That's all there to be heard.
I mean, the very best of music in Avast at the time.
Oh, this was, you couldn't turn your back on this. This was great stuff.
Was you recorded battery or electricity powered at the time?
Oh, it was electricity powered. Electricity, and hooked up. And just asked permission, can I record this? And I asked the band.
Would you? Yes.
Oh, I'd asked the band.
Protocols back then as well.
Yeah, well, I know I used Burke for 2 or 3 years at that time. And I asked him, he said, record away.
Yeah.
So he got his booking out of it anyway. Yeah.
But there wouldn't be that many others going around with recording devices, were there?
I was the only one. I was the only one.
Apart from Tom Davis, I suppose.
Davis, but he wouldn't be down at that
end of the country.
He'd be more going to flats and that where he could shoot from you to you and run the boat,
Yes.
And pick off a little bit. But I had another great night there. The Old Cross Céilí band from County Tyrone. And there's a girl still singing the song with them that night. She's singing with some band up in Tyrone at the moment. They were great tunes. They were powerful. When they played the Cuckoo Waltz, there was this fella fit to take out Cuckoo on the guitar. It was tremendous. I thought they got the very best of bands, and these carnivals went on for surely 6 or 7 years.
Fantastic.
And the place was full.
And do you think you recorded a few of those?
Well, I know them two was recorded, and I'm not fit to say if there was more now.
Yeah. And you mentioned Céilí bands. Céilí bands really became a big part of your life, didn't they?
Oh, I played in 7 Céilí bands altogether in my time.
And the first would have been?
my first would have
Wasn't
been...
Eugene Leddy's, was it?
No, it'd be the clown put up a Céilí band one time. They could call it Green Castle.
Green Castle. Well, that was with Patsy
Patty
Doherty's
Doherty band. That was the first one. And after that, then I was with Eugene Lenny from Butler's Bridge in County Cavan. After that, I was with Joe Delaney from Road in County Offaly. Who the hell all? 7, I know I counted up and I got...
And probably the one you spent most time towards the end would have been the Green Linnet.
The Green Linnet. I did 7 years with the Green Linnet.
Right.
Yeah.
Because I know from listening to the recordings, you would have done a lot of broadcasts for RT at the time with the Green Linnet.
Oh God, sure, we were every other week on radio. Yeah, we got at least nearly every other week on radio. Yeah. We got some great broadcasts. There's one broadcast, if you ever come across it, and it starts with the pinch of snuff. That was a fine, it was a unit. It was a powerful unit. Charlie Lennon was there, Tony Smith was there, Lakin was there. It would just come off a dream. That was by far the best band broadcast we ever had.
And we in the competition scene as well with the band?
Oh yeah, sure, we won it on one occasion.
Very good.
We won the Rocktas on another occasion. Yeah. So we got nipped in here and there.
Yeah. I'm thinking, I know it's gone back to maybe earlier in that period, would there have been travelling musicians who came around, I know I'm jumping back a bit, to your locality when you were, even before you started playing music, you might remember, I think you told me about being at a fair day, the Monaghan Day was called in Mohill, wasn't it?
Oh yes, that's when the traffic man was playing.
The Dorans, was it?
Dorans. This is Felix, not Felix, but Johnny. Yeah. Johnny was playing with his foot on a box, and they were going over and giving him money and all this. And I said to my father that day, I says, "Who is that man?" Yeah. "Oh, that man was here before," he says. "But who is he?" I says. Yeah. "Johnny Dorn," he says. And he used to play. He used to be below where they had the house now at the cross.
Okay.
He camped there, and the poor fellow got killed in Galway with a wall fell on him at a later stage.
And can you remember what years you would have those memories come from?
I wouldn't know where, year-wise, where.
It was before you started playing music yourself?
Oh, it was, yeah, because I didn't.
So sometime in the early 40s.
I knew the sound of music, and it was lovely, but I couldn't say that I knew he played a G or a reel. Yeah. But he had his foot up in the box, and he was playing, and he was. Yes. That was the first time I seen uilleann pipes.
Right.
And he had a handy set of them too. Now, I doubt if he had he wouldn't have the regulators anyway. As far as I can remember.
Yeah, maybe it just wasn't obvious. Yeah, you wouldn't know.
Oh, look at, I wouldn't be fit to argue on what he was missing or if he was missing anything, but it was just watching him using all this and this lovely music.
But you always loved the pipes. I mean, that's why I suppose my brother and myself ended up playing the pipes.
I loved them. Yeah. I loved them. And I tell you, the Dorans was a big inspiration on me too. Right. And the Felix fella in particular. Okay. He was a fine piper. That was, to me.
Yes. I'm thinking you went to the United States in 1973, was it, on a visit with P. Fitzpatrick? You mentioned P earlier, and you stayed with P's brother, was it there?
I stayed with Mike Fitz, and there's a man that played the fiddle.
Right, lovely fiddle.
Fitz was full of music, yes. And
you brought your recording device, but it wasn't the reel-to-reel you brought at that stage, was it?
No, it was a more mobile one and not as visible.
Cassettes, were they? When did you can't remember what year you moved to the cassette recorder, do you?
I can't remember now.
Yeah. But you had a number of other recording devices in between the first Philips and going to the cassette, because I have one upstairs that you gave me, your last reel-to-reel, which is a Sony. But you had one in between, did you?
The big Sony, isn't it?
Yeah, the big size.
Oh yeah, that was the last big one ever I had.
It's very hard to lift it. I can't imagine you going to Tetris sound with that in your hand.
Well, no, you wouldn't go with that one, because I had one before that at Toshiba. Right. And as a matter of fact, it was the best one ever I had.
Okay.
Oh God, I must have been doing stereo stuff, and Jesus, it used to come out fantastic. Nice. Jesus, you'd hear a band playing there on my crate. When I'd have it played on this yoke, I'd say it's better than the band played it. you know, and I didn't know how it happened.
And it wasn't only music I heard on it. I think there was what else were you recording at the time? There was football matches.
Oh Jesus! Sure, everything that was, I thought was of interest. But in America, I got Charlie Mulvihill.
You did.
I got him.
It's lovely. You have a whole cassette of his music, haven't you?
Yeah, whole cassette. Aye, that was.
And Mick was on the P was with you, of course.
P Fitzel with me, but just one great happening took place in America. They had a drink over there in America called Tom Collins.
Still do, apparently.
and I'd never heard of Tom Collins before, and it was as clear as clear as that now. And Jesus, she'd be drinking every few minutes here and be boiling up. And he had a good few skinks of this taken anyway.
I think the funniest part here is you had never ever taken alcohol.
I never took a drink before I went to America.
And you didn't know that this was alcoholic.
I didn't know that. I didn't. That's the gospel truth. And we had our meal finished and all, and Mike Fitz said, he nominated me to start off an evening's playing and all this stuff. And I was delighted. I started anyway. Just to the table, it was surely as long as from that wall to that wall, no, and both sides were full. I started off anyway, and I could see as I was playing, I could see the lad that I was with in America, Fitz, looking like this up at me, and it never registered with me, and I never was as happy playing in my life. Just I was as contented. I'd have played for the evening. And when I had that played, I got a sort of a clap, I think, all right. And Fitz come down to me, hey lad, he says, you know you're stone drunk. Your mind and your fingers is that far apart. That's the gospel truth. That was in the Tom Collins thing. Yeah, that is the truth.
It was a brief introduction and courtship, and you left it behind.
Christ, will you stop, lad? And you would drink it and it tasted like water. Whatever the heck sort of a drinking was, I don't know. But by just, I tell you, it got me anyway. And I didn't know it got me.
Yeah, that's the funniest part. But you were sober the night of the recording with Charlie Mulvihill.
It taught me a lesson away plenty of.
Very good.
Charlie was a very steady and loyal player, lovely player. Oh God, lovely. And then I knew a bit about him before ever I met him, you know, having heard him. Yeah. And the Kieran I think he was over there and picked off bits of him.
Can you remember recording anybody else while you were out there? Maybe not. You were just with the Fitzes, really, weren't you?
You know the reel that we put on the CD there, the Tramps reel?
Yeah. I
can't think of who he was to give me that.
And that was out there, was it?
I got that tune out there, the Tramps reel.
John Blessing would have played that as well, wouldn't he?
He would have, yeah. But I never had it or played it until I met this man, a very nice man, and he gave me that tune anyway.
That's great. Well worth the journey
for that. I played a out there, do you remember?
Yeah.
Oh no, that was
later on. Not during 73. That was when we went back out in 2004 or thereabouts, I think.
Yeah.
Into the Catskills Irish House.
Yeah.
Yeah. And back home, I just think of some of the interesting recordings that have been digitised there. One would have been the Leitrim Trio.
Oh yes, we did a few of them now.
Yeah.
We did the Bring Down the Lamp and All the Best, and I don't know what else on anyone.
A lot of Céilí House recordings as far as I can
we would have done the Céilí House as well.
Yeah. So that was who was in that Leitrim Trio? Yourself and
John Lee, P. Fitz and myself.
Right.
Yeah.
It's very nice.
Yeah, they came off quite well now.
Very nice. And you'd have recorded a lot with just about John. What's John's connection? Of course, he's from Ahavas as well.
He is. He's only a mile over the road from me.
Yeah. But he would have left to go to Donegal at some point. So.
Oh God, yes. Oh, he was gone to Donegal at the time that I joined the Linnet band in Dublin. John was gone down to Donegal at that time.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. But when you hear you playing together, I suppose because of both of you sourcing your music from John, it works so well together.
Yeah. It gelled in really well.
Really nice. And then, talking about Donegal, you spent a little bit of time working in Donegal and met up with a lovely Leitrim fiddle player up there.
What I did, every Monday night, Ben Lennon.
Yeah.
Ben was head man in McGee's in Donegal. And I was building the RT2 Mass on Trustmore. And of a Monday night, I used to go down to Ben. Oh, jeez, we used to spend 3 hours playing. Jeez, we used to enjoy it. Did you listen to any of it?
Some of it's beautiful. Really, really beautiful. And very much like when you hear it, it's so distinctive. You know who the fiddle player is immediately.
Oh, he had a famous beat. Jeez, he was a famous beat. Yeah.
I think some of the other collection I haven't got around to listen to yet will have yourself and Charlie, because you used to meet in Kilty-Clogher the old time with Charlie. How much music would you play with Charlie?
I would have, in a short time, I would have played a good bit with Charlie now. Like, Charlie, I played him first in Dublin a few times, and then he used to come down to Cullen's in Rothenburg, where Ben lives. There's a public house there, and when he'd be coming down, he'd give Ben a ring, and Ben would ring me and he says, "Charlie is coming." Charlie is coming tonight.
Right.
Good enough, I think I'll make it. I says, good. Go down there, and we'd leave at 5 o'clock, that'd be 5 o'clock in the morning. Your mother and myself left at 5 o'clock in the morning, and neither of us had a wink of sleep in us.
It was an exhilarating night.
We had a great night. Jesus, it was great. And Charlie was a mighty man too.
Is.
Jesus, he used to lift us out of it, and he loved that. Well, he had in him that our music is more chopped up than most musics. You get a great player in County Clare that wouldn't make much of a fist of our music.
The phrasing is different.
Phrasing is different, yeah.
Very different.
And I don't know, and as Ben said, I don't think they know it, he said.
And everybody to themselves, yeah.
Well, everyone
or to their own, I should say. Yes.
Yeah, but Ben had a great sound.
Well, I mean, that was formative for me. It was somewhat later than that, but I remember you going down to meet Charlie and Ben when we started playing music, and that would have been in the late 70s.
Yeah.
Early 80s actually, probably. I started in 79. Actually, it's very interesting. One of the recordings that's been digitised has you capturing Ray, my brother, and myself in April 1979 attempting to play the scale on the pipes.
Oh my
God.
God.
Obviously was when we started. Now we know when we started. I was always saying, was it 79, was it 80? But it's actually on one of the recordings. But around that time or thereafter, so I'm talking about probably 1980, you would have brought us with you on some of those nights to Kilty-Clogher where Ben and Charlie were playing.
Yeah.
And those memories were profound, really.
Well, you got a feast of music.
I got a feast, and of course they gave us the opportunity to play the 1 or 2 tunes we knew, so we felt really good about ourselves.
Oh God, yes. They were a great inspiration.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. Great.
And you learned so much of your music through the oral tradition, but of course the area had quite a strong written tradition of manuscripts and people writing down their music.
Very much so.
Now the Rileys wrote down quite a bit of the music.
Oh well, all their music was written down. Oh, the Rileys, and you were no musician if you didn't learn it off the
really
of the thing. And Pat had a no-just old chanty way of talking. But I learned by the lug, he says. I can learn by the lug. Yeah. And the father never had any time for him because he learned by the lug.
God.
So he told me himself.
Right.
Yeah. Oh, crazy.
You spent quite a bit of time. Sorry, go ahead.
He was a good fiddle player, Pat.
Yes.
Oh, he had a looser style altogether to Mickey. Now,
the brother.
Mickey was more in the Sean Ryan type of very tasty, doing lovely stuff and all this, But Pat would roll it out there and, oh, Jesus, he was.
Yeah. And then Hughie's another brother, was he?
Hughie was another brother.
Right.
Hughie was a bit of a canuck, He'd have to have crack going now, we were playing when I was playing in the Creve Road band, that was a band I played with. And when I played with the Creve Road band, there was one tune, there was the spot in it was a bit weak anyway. So when I was saying, we'll go with that. No, he said, when you come to it, let it cheer, he said, I'm going to know what's it.
So what timing?
There was great gallery to them. They mixed it with the music.
Well, you can tell that when I listen to some of the recordings which feature Pat, or you would have gone down there at one point, which I think it was Enda, my brother, to share some time with Pat, because Enda was learning the fiddle, of course, and really when you hear Pat's commentary on some of those tunes being played, or just the social get together, he was a real free spirited man, wasn't he?
Yeah. Very much so.
And you're saying Huey was even more so, wasn't
he? Huey was the devil, wasn't he? He was.
So what times, were you interacting with the Rileys there in Drumrally with that?
I was interacting with, we say 58, 59. I was, we say 50. I'd be in the. I tell you when I was the fourth time I remember was in Ballinya in 58.
The Fly.
The Fly, and himself and Fitz would play that night. I thought it was lovely music.
Right.
Mickey and Fitzpatrick was playing, and you see, Mickey was a blacksmith, and he went up to Bournemouth to work. And he took a job in the steel work in Bournemouth, so he quit the horses altogether. And that's how I got into Joe Delaney's band. There was a guy over there that really made contact with it in a short time. He wasn't long up there, and he gave me word. He said, we're going to such a house, it's over the road there, a cottage house, he says, on next Thursday night, and we'll have a few tunes, he says, to have a band there. And we went over, and we got thrown into the band that very day. Joe Delaney said, I have to tell you the truth, he said, we're after having 2 editions on RTE and we failed both of them. And we were asking him what was the points that he went down on. And he said, our balance wasn't good. We were lacking fiddle and we were lacking flute. Would you play with us if I went again? Oh, we said we would. He didn't sit on the next day, he wrote a letter to RT, and in a week's time the word was there back such Saturday. And we went into RT and so we came out of a shining colour.
Made all the difference, did you? Very good.
Yeah, that's how we had 2 great broadcasts together, and Mickey Riley took the cancer and he never played more.
Oh dear. Young man.
A young man. Gosh. But I was glad that he got them too, because he used to talk about them up to the time he died. He used to talk about the broadcast and what a great sound and all this. And he was playing McDermott's reel, and he used to go up, there was a note he used to go up and you could get it coming out on the fiddle. A lovely accidental type of thing. He did it out of nice.
You kept in touch with Pat then, did you?
Oh, I always kept in touch with Pat.
Yes.
I visited him when he was sick in hospital and all that. Pat was shocking cracky altogether.
There's a couple of lovely tunes. I recorded them back in 2000, I think it was, and they were directly from. I started that digitisation process back in probably 20 years ago now, but ran out of time. But I had probably 10 of your reels or 12 of your reels recorded at the time. But on one of them was Pat, I think it was Pat, playing 2 hop jigs.
He was a different for them.
Yeah, really interesting tunes. Yeah,
hop jigs is right. Oh yes.
But lovely music and really classily played, I have to say as well. And contemporaries of the Rise would have been Sutherland. Wasn't Sutherland from the same area?
Oh, he was, but they would have no commander.
They were alright.
Oh, they were both in command of their own stuff.
Musical rivalry.
Their own squares, and that was that.
Right.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. But he recorded a treasure trove, really, didn't he?
Oh,
I mean, as he started recorded, he documented or notated.
He sent an awful lot of it into RTE, I think, or there are a lot of it around
we were
the country.
Fortunate to have
and everything he sent in was very well tied up, I believe. But he reckoned that
I think the Folklore Commission was it ended up with it.
Yeah.
A portion of it, I think. A portion of it. I think some of it was lost due to unfortunate circumstances.
there was a fire.
That's right.
There was a fire, yes.
So fortunately, he did have the foresight to send it in.
Yeah, that was
to
good.
the Folklore Commission. We got some lovely tunes out of that, didn't we?
Yes.
Yeah, but you didn't get to hear him play yourself.
I never got to hear the man play it.
Yeah.
But he wouldn't. He told me, Fitz told me this. Now I had only him to tell me, he was out before me, you see. But he did tell me that Terry Riley, he said, let me tell you this. I heard Canny, he said that his best player through the Velvet. And he wasn't, I don't think he'll go to Terry Riley.
That's Pat's brother, or Pat's father, is it? Pat and Mickey, Huey's father, yeah.
He told me that Terry Riley was the best man ever threw a bow and through the Velvet.
Right.
No, and it's hard. Really, you get a man in the areas where this is happening that he'll brag to the last out of someone else, you know, that's in the same competition as him, you know. But he said that
He's in high esteem anyway.
That Terry was the best man on the Velvet he ever seen playing the ball.
And you would have mentioned another Riley, but I didn't realise that they weren't connected until recently. That's Frank, is it Frank Riley?
Oh, Frank Riley, the blacksmith. Well, no, when I say not connected, there's bound to be some connection there.
Because there's also in Drum Riley.
Because they were playing the same type of music all the time.
Yes.
But Frank wouldn't be a brother of Terry's, as far as I'm aware.
Okay.
He might be a first, second cousin, I don't know what he was, but he wasn't belonging to Terry's family anyway.
He was a fiddle player as well.
Oh yes, oh God, he was a queer player.
They're all fiddle players there, weren't like all the Riley fiddle players, Sutherland was fiddle player.
That's right. And there was another player, and we never got him. That is John Tom Gray from the Meath, down that country as well. And his brother Joe. She had told bundles of music. John Tom was a lovely player, beautiful player. Oh God, as neat and as tasty as you get. He finished up over here in County Louth. He has a son over there in County Louth.
Yes.
Maybe you know that.
We have a CD, the son brought out the CD, we have it in the archive.
Oh, good.
Yeah.
Oh, gee, yeah, about to get something. He used to play Downs number 9, and it was lovely. That was John Tom. Well, the Joe fella, he'd be in there in the pub with a pint in his hand and a pair of Wellas and that, and he'd go around dancing and he was hot a crack on it, and a lovely singer. And he'd say, give me that fiddle a minute. And he just took it off you, and he might play in the key of, I don't know what it'd be, but the sound was beautiful. Oh, he was a gifted man. And then there was another man that, of course, was long before my time. He was like what Coleman was to the most of us. He was Peter Kennedy. And they all would tell you that was the best player of the whole lot.
He was based in Ballinamore, wasn't he?
He was, yeah, Peter Kennedy. And they all had great respect for Kennedy. I think the Rileys eventually got their music from Kennedy.
Yeah, that's what apparently they did, yes. And I know he wasn't, well, I suppose when you were a child, he was very active in the area. What about Father Conifrey?
Oh yes, Father Conifrey.
He was active in the 30s, you were born in the mid-30s yourself.
That's right.
Do you remember much about him?
Oh God, nothing whatsoever.
Right.
Nothing whatsoever, other than the old people telling me who he had at the concert, and he used to have a big day on the green there in Clune.
Yes.
And it was great music, and he had Leo Roseham down on at least two occasions. And Pete Fitz to be part of that band, and William Doherty was another part, Michael Martin Cregan was another one. And Jimmy McKeeran. So he had a right good band, you know.
Yes.
And he nearly missed saying mass now if he saw a musician going up the road to get out of him. Oh, he was crazy.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
He was quite a pioneer, really, wasn't he? I mean, he was following in the footsteps of the Ballinakil experience. He was replicating it in some ways, wasn't he?
Well, there you are. Yeah. There you are.
And nowadays, there are some young musicians in the area, are there? Or few?
In
Belfast, Clune,
oh God,
very few.
Very few. It's destroyed. It's destroyed.
Well, lost maybe, or
Well,
dormant. We prefer to call it.
it's more than dormant. It's more than dormant. No. You see, them that's trying to teach it doesn't know what the tradition means.
I suppose tradition can get broken along the way.
Well, this is smashed.
It's all sounding very negative.
This is smashed. This is smashed.
Well, something will have to be done there, I suppose.
Well, if it's not too late. Maybe some of them will come yet.
Just think of all those fiddles that were hanging on walls when there were, was it, did you say six, how many were learning from Johnny Mulligan that time?
There was 14 of them.
14 of them,
I think it's 14 or 15. Yeah.
Well, maybe we can have a fiddle resurgence again.
And you know, he told me, Mulligan was a great man with answers, you know. And this mother came to him and she says, will you ever teach James the fiddle? Well, sure. Has he a fiddle? He had, but he had no bow. Oh, well, sure, he said, will you buy a spool of thread and I'll make a bow? I said, so he eventually got a fiddle worked up for him and he came for a couple of lessons anyway. He wasn't getting on the very best. So this particular night she came back with him anyway. Maybe after having done a couple of months. And she said, Johnny, James is going to stop playing the fiddle. Well, whatever he says. And God bless you. You done a sight for him. Take a lot of that to boil a pot, he says. In other words, there was no money coming yesterday. Take a lot of that to boil a pot, he says. Oh, will you stop?
But I mean, music, I suppose it's very healthy in the country overall. So maybe certain pockets which were traditionally strongholds are no longer such, but other areas have become strongholds.
You see, Ireland has changed. Sure. And even down beside us now, there's a vast number of, I wouldn't say refugees, there's people that have come from England and have set up home, bought houses, and I don't even know them, but they're going to school at me and my granddaughter and that, and they're playing football all right, but I don't think now that they're very good on the music yet. But I can't say that because they're not getting it from the right person.
Well, they're not. Maybe there's not enough active musicians in the area, I suppose, to make it popular again, and
could be,
and give the opportunity. So hopefully that will come about in due course.
Yeah. Well, Céilí came along, that generation of yours. You see, it was lying dormant too.
Yeah, because I remember when I was going back through research for the pipers of the area, when you think of the stronghold it was for pipers, now mind, you talk about obviously the fiddle players, so the scattering of flute players that we talked about, but we never mentioned the piper apart from the visiting piper there, you know, the Dorans coming through. And yes, you know, Old Man Quinn, as he's well known, James Early.
That's right.
Like two stalwarts.
The same town.
They were from Havas, or the Havas Clune Barony, as it was called at the time. So, and then you had the Gusty Nichols, who was based in Havas at the time.
Correct. Up into the parish as well.
And then even into the early 1900s, you had Pat Fitzpatrick in Carrigallen, and you had the Oney Brennans in Mohill. And well, O'Neill is allowed this documented, but it was an incredible hot. It was really a vibrant piping at the time, but not dissimilar to many parts of the country during the early 1900s. Well, by the mid 1900s, there weren't too many pipers anywhere, but certainly there were none in our area.
No.
But anyway, I suppose that's what happens: ebb and flow of life and of music.
Yes, it never runs level anyway.
I think what's lovely now is to have recordings to relate back to. The people, the time, the musician, the social society as it was at the time, I suppose.
Yes.
And when you listen, not that you've had much opportunity, you listen to some of those recordings that you maybe haven't heard for 50 years. Like what feelings come to mind or thoughts come to mind?
Well, when I heard that first one on the digit, the night you had it in the house.
Yes.
I knew the first man to play was Frank Riley.
You did, yeah.
Oh, I had no sound if I was out in the Bahamas. I knew it to a T. I knew that sound. And I knew Pat that had a totally different style.
Yes.
Coming from the Terry Riley stable. Yeah, a lot of that would stick with you. Well, it sticks with me anyway, you know.
And now we have it for anybody else to hear it who wants to make use of it as well, which is the wonderful thing, isn't it?
That's the point, you see. Yeah.
Oh, thanks. That's fantastic. Thanks so much for giving me your time today.
Well, sure. Don't keep what you can afford to lose.
Well, we're all a link in the chain, aren't we? It's nice to be able to make a difference to others.
Very, very important, yes. Yes.
Thank you, gentlemen.
Fantastic.